I'm taking a break from showing you games about the Leningrad Dutch, and I would like to show you this amazing book. Why? Because in this book Tartakower practically make the synthesis of the knowledge of chess in the 1940s about opening theory, about middle game understanding, about endgames. This is a book with 400 pages, and now please tell me how much do you think I paid for it, because some people believe we need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. No, this book is $5. $5. Look, it's new. The original price was $34.95, but I got it for $5, and you can too, because you just check around the chess sites that sell books for clearance, special offers, sales. $5, 400 pages of wisdom. Savielly Tartakower was grandmaster level, so he's teaching you grandmaster level chess. And notice, you can say, 1930s is not like today. Yes, we are 100 years later, but in any case you have to pass through that kind of knowledge in order to grow as a chess player. And so you can enjoy your good chessboard and check the book. The book honestly has a lot of material for thought, so I'm not discounting this book like the price. The price is really cheap, but this is something heavy to digest, because it tells you a lot of the ideas. It tells you the difference of how they were playing chess before and after. So it's really great in my opinion. Now, the game I would like to show you, it's maybe it's game number 1. Okay, I didn't know it was game number 1. It was before between Emanuel Lasker and Tarrasch. It was played in Merisch Oxtrau 1923, so 101 years ago. He says to watch for the following things. White makes a mistake on the 10th move. Then there was an implementation on 14th move. There are a lot of points that he makes and that you can read before the game, because he's trying to point you at paying attention. But I will do it too, okay, so don't worry. E4, knight f6. So why this move? This is the Alekhine defense, right? Because he just explained all the theory of the Alekhine defense, and that's the interesting part. I didn't give you all the theory because there are many pages of theory that maybe now is outdated. I'm sure it's outdated, but in the time it was whatever you could know. E5, so the most consistent, at least concerning our system of introductory essay above. Obviously you could play also knight c3, you can play a lot of different stuff, but it says e5 the best. Knight d5, c4, knight b6, d4, d6. Now you are chipping, right? You are attacking the enemy center with d6. f4, very good move, right? And now you or you were bluffing or you are for real, right? If you are for real, you have to take, because that's why you played d6, right? But how do you think he takes? Obviously it doesn't take with this, because you would take and he has lost the castling, so he takes with f pawn. And now you need to move again in order to develop your pieces. So black plays knight c6. And here there is a comment which says, as is well known, this move forces bishop e3. since if you play knight f3, there is bishop g4, okay? So that's an ideal square, no? Because you must find the ideal square where your pieces should develop, and so that they are not removed from there. But and this says it's better than this, okay? So that's what it is. And why he says bishop e3? Because obviously after this, if you make h3, he can take, you take, he takes here with his knight, right? So you have a problem. That's why. So that's why knight f3 not the best, and that's why he thinks bishop e3 is the best. And now, unfortunately, there is no knight f3, but you have to develop this, right? Because here this is not coming out. And so he says bishop f5, which is pointing at here, and which could be that the reason, right? Here it says the bishop finds, almost to the same extent as g4, a secure and effective placement even here. Now, an opening which allows the development of black's light square bishop to go unpunished can hardly be bad. So, for him, an opening that allows him to develop is good. Okay, let's see. Knight c3, e6, and knight f3, bishop b4. The best chance at equality is offered by knight b4. And here he says, watch my introductory essay, that is the theory that he gives in the beginning. Now, it seems that white makes a mistake. So ask yourself what you would play in this situation. Why do I tell you that? Because it's possible that you would play the same move. If you would play the same move, then it will stay in your memory that you made a mistake. Otherwise, you will not learn anything. So, I hope that you paused and found the move. White, in this game, played bishop d3. And here it says, a very common mistake that also occurs in other openings. Its cause lies in the aggressive spirit which animates every player of the white pieces. We know that bishop e2, followed promptly by castling, is necessary, whereupon the white center becomes more fortified, making black counterplay in turn more difficult. Now, however, black obtains the advantage. How does black obtain the advantage? That's a kind of interesting, right? How does black obtain the advantage? Bishop g4. And here it says a similar position minus the knight on c3 and bishop on b4 occurred in Euwe Kostic, The Hague, 1921, in which black played a much weaker bishop takes d3. So, okay. So this note is about the opening. We don't care because in reality today everything is checked by computers. However, after bishop g4, white plays bishop e2. And here it says, yielding to bitter necessity, white admits the mistake of his previous move rather than obstinately pursue fantastical notion of attack with castle. So, castle wasn't good either in this moment, okay? The best move for Tartakower is bishop e2. Okay, so that's the interesting part. But why? Why do you think that castle is bad? Because also that you need to ask yourself. If you don't ask yourself, you will never learn, right? So why do you think castle is a mistake? Because after castle, black will play knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, and now there is queen takes d4. Obviously it's not finished, right? Because you can see that there is a problem here. So after king h1, the great move is this kind of castle, long castle, okay? While castling on that side would also be a mistake for Tartakower. And now that black played long castle, is white to play rook ad1, okay? And it can continue with this tack, tack, and tack, okay? So that's and here it says as evaluation, so we learn also about evaluations, and white position is hopeless. It is not particularly pleasant after the text move either, since white loses the knight on f3. So the knight over f3 was important for this kind of line, but that's what it is. White made the mistake of playing bishop d3, right? So now let me go back to the position from which we analyze. So we were at this point where white had to play bishop e2, because if he castle, we saw what happens, right? Now, the problem is that this knight is defending this. So the position, that's why white wanted to castle, because the position of the king is exposed after f2, f4, right? Let's see what happens. Bishop takes f3, g takes f3. So why you cannot play this? Can you see why you cannot play this? Because knight takes c4, okay? So you have to play this. But like I said, there is a problem on this diagonal, right? Queen h4, bishop f2, queen f4. Notice the positioning of his queen to prevent white from castling on that side, right? So, what do you do now as white? You cannot castle from one side or the other, but you have to do something, right? It's not that white has a lot of possibilities. Of course, he could have played probably queen c1 more. Let's see. Here it gives obviously a long line, but in the game it was played rook g1, okay? Let's just give a look to queen c1. Queen c1, queen takes c1, rook takes c1, and castle. So what do you do now as white? First of all, it says that this is not the best for black. The best maybe is this one. Okay. And that's kind of interesting, because immediately you think about this one, right? Take, take, take. Okay. take, take. So let's see what else. Play, and so nothing. The line ends here, and it says with the definite advantage of a pawn. This was the homework analysis made by Tartakower, which is interesting. Yeah. He has a pawn advantage, but will he be able to convert it? That's what I tell you most of the time, because it seems so easy, but sometimes the conversion into a win can become kind of difficult. So you should try to play a position like this one against maybe a computer and see if you are able to win. Let's return back. And here, however, there is also another long line that he puts and that I find interesting. Why? Because this guy didn't have any computer to do his homework, and so he had to do it by himself. So this Queen C1 is the one suggested, right? And after this there is this castling, which maybe is not the best one. At this point, strangely, there is another idea that we can see. So let's see. He said, instead of castling, let's play knight a4. Okay, because this is definitely stronger than castling. And what happens is the following. Instead of, like before that we saw a3, it seems that Tartakower analyzed also, boom, castle. Imagine castling like this. Because the point is that there is no real direct attack, the queen are not on the board, so it can make sense, right? But there is knight takes b2, knight b5, castle. At this point he needs to castle to defend all of that, and rook b1, a6, d5. These are all typical grandmaster moves. They continue to attack. They answer to an attack with another attack. A takes b5, and then is just a second that I find it, because there are multiple lines here. Here we go. D takes c6, and then is followed by rook d2. And black's superiority can no longer be kept in check. So the evaluation for him is that black is clearly superior. I don't know, I find interesting because imagine this guy went to analyze 5-6 moves. He didn't have like us chess base that make it easy, so he had to write it in his own journal or diary and then bring those diaries with him because he had all the theory written. Otherwise you have to remember it, right? So obviously there were also some other lines in this long part, but I think it's enough, because honestly it becomes too long. Also as a video it's becoming too long. So I will move on and return to the game.